Hey, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And I just came back from an exciting road trip to Florida. Now, what was really interesting was while we were there, so my husband and I were there, my husband was mentioning a lot of things that he would see out of the corner of his eye. And then he would ask me, "What is that? Who's there?" And he's fairly clairvoyant, and I am inner clairvoyant, not so much outer clairvoyant. Outer vision is not my strong suit. Clairsentience, which is feeling through the body, is. So we got to work kind of figuring out what was it that he was seeing. And interestingly, it was a mix of things. Sometimes it was dimensional beings, which you could say are aliens, if you will. Others were spirits, none particularly malevolent. But we went to a lot of different places, including Universal Studios and various different hotels. And I was asking, gee, what is this about? Now, a couple of weeks back, I got an alert, if you will, from Source that we are going through what I can describe as a dimensional convergence. So, what is that? Well, it's sort of like if you are a superhero fan, you may have seen one of the Thor movies where the nine realms kind of became aligned and it was really easy to jump from one realm to the other. And it's sort of like that, that we can, during this convergence, be able to connect with, see, interact with more easily other dimensions. Is this part of the quote unquote ascension process? Yeah, you could say it is. It's part of our evolution for sure. Now, I believe that, and I could be wrong, but I believe that this is a certain moment in time, if you will, where everything is coming together. Now, if you are a student of the Topican healing method, you already know that our timelines are converging or have converged. This is something different. This is really about the different dimensional realms. Now, I'm not talking about whether someone's consciousness is in 3D, 4D, 5D, that kind of thing. I'm talking about, like, think of it as places, if you will, or worlds. So I'm not just talking about your body in this timeline versus your alternate self in an alternate, past reality, future reality, or a multiple universe reality. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this existence, but that the different dimensions in this reality are converging to the point where some people who have their clairs, their clairvoyance, their clairsentience, clairaudience, etc., expanded to a level that they can start to see, hear, feel, etc., the beings that are in these other dimensions. It's sort of like having overlapping things in the same space, if you will. Now, it doesn't mean that, in case you are seeing something fluttering at the side of your vision and it's an alien, doesn't mean that they're there to hurt you or harm you or even interact with you sometimes. Now, mind you, this goes both ways. So that means that the dimensionals can also connect and interact and see us better, if you will, than before. Now, some dimensionals, the good guys, I'd like to say, have been using technology in order to slow their vibration down. And again, I'm not talking about spiritual vibration. Slow their vibration down so we can be, um, uh, uh, well, so they can be more dense, if you will, so they can see and interact with us as like almost like humanoid to humanoid. Now, with this dimensional conversion, my current understanding is that there's going to be less and less need for this technology so we can actually interact with each other in an easier way because these dimensions are converging. How long it lasts, I don't really know. I didn't ask actually, but I think it's very interesting. So while we were in different hotels and theme parks and convention things like that, my husband was seeing a lot of activity going on. Now this is happening probably all the time, but we're just not aware of it. You probably may be noticing some other things as well. If you're clairsentient like me, you might be able to notice entering certain spaces that there is a shift or a difference. again, one of the things I want to warn you about is not, because you're conditionally trained, or we are conditionally trained to think uncomfortable or different is bad. Okay. And it's not. We're trained through Hollywood and whoever, that aliens are bad and they're dangerous, and spirits are bad and dangerous and things like that. In one case, James was lying down and was sensing someone like sitting, if you will, next to him, and it was Archangel Michael. Now, Archangel Michael did shift his shape, so to speak, in a way that wouldn't alarm James, because 8-foot angel could be kind of alarming. Um, and so when you have these experiences, just keep in mind to be neutral about it or curious about it. Do not automatically go into a space of fear, or someone's trying to attack me, or aliens are trying to mind control me, or whatever. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of funky stuff going on in the world, I admit, for sure, but keep an open mind, and this is where you can start training your clairs, to really sense. Now, I use clairsentience, so that's clair empathy, if you will. So I can feel into a person, place, thing. This is something we teach even in my book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower, right? In intuitive impressioning. So you can feel into different situations and whatever it is, and have some discernment and not automatically go into a state of negative thinking. And this is all too common because I hear it all the time. I'm being attacked. Just because there's a spirit in your space does not mean you're being attacked. Okay. And if you're doing your work, and what I mean is if you're doing, your stillness work, stillness on the fly, or some other stillness method, now we have stillness on steroids, right? Where you can use your other clairs besides clairsentient to get into that 0 point field. We launched that on the telesummits recently, as well as in one of my workshops, the Stillness on Steroids. And if you're doing that kind of work, okay, and you are working on your emotions, over the last Spiritual Medicine Digest, we've been doing multiple protocols. For example, the FLIP protocol, and which transmutes your negative emotions and energies to the polar opposite, as well as your inner child FLIP protocol. Two separate protocols, but both complementary. So if you're doing that kind of work, you've got your Ascension 3. You're doing, you're asking, commanding the right things for you. For example, it's not like, in fear, I want to be protected and get rid of all these entities, right? I mean, it'll do it anyway, but if you're in fear and you need to train yourself out of fear, the spirit team might be like, okay, you have other work to do. You just have to command the right thing. And it could be that you command that you have better discernment and feel calm at all times, and you will be challenged, just like we were recently challenged. And I think, at this point, given everything that I've experienced, like I told my patients before when I had a brick and mortar office, unless someone's going to die because you do not take action, okay, don't go into a state of worry or fear or resistance of what is going on, because the more you resist, things persist. Everyone kind of knows that, but what they do in their everyday life, they kind of forget that and throw it out the window, right? So we have this wonderful abundance challenge, and you may have an abundance challenge going on now. So an abundance challenge is basically anything that you perceive as an obstacle, something you do not want or do not prefer, that is coming into your space, a literal 3D situation. And why we call it abundance challenge is that as you work through that challenge and overcome that obstacle, and primarily through your mindset and perceptions, you get to that other side and you level up to the next stage of abundance. Yeah. So when things happen that you do not want, one of the things you can do is do what my friend Eldon Taylor does, and re-perceives it as, gee, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this, right? And I posted on Facebook, like, hey, my brakes failed in my car. And then I put, the little meme, I picked the wrong meme, but anyway, the what do you call it? The emoticon, or, the girl. Anyway, So I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Bitmoji, emoji. Oh my gosh, I'm showing my age. I don't know what these things are called. Anyway, so I had one where, the person looks bummed, right? But I should have had one that she looked kind of like, like normal. And so I've changed it since because somebody misunderstood because you couldn't hit, they didn't see the read more button. It said, my, brakes failed in my car, and I put wonderful abundance challenge, woohoo. But all he read was brakes failed on my car, wonderful. And then, if you don't click the thing, you don't see the rest of it. So he thought I was in a state of like, fear and annoyance and all that kind of stuff, but I was anything but that. So immediately I knew, oh, abundance challenge. It's not what I prefer. I prefer to get home in time so I can do this amazing interview with this amazing person, you know, on Friday. And it's a secret. I'm going to be telling you that soon. Anyway, and my husband did have difficulty with this one, but I realized that part of it happening was we were so blessed, and I felt blessed and lucky almost immediately because if the brakes failed in the middle of the highway, right, and you're trying to brake, we would have caused a multi-car collision. Yeah. So when did it fail finally? It was right when we were pulling up to our hotel. Yeah. Like, do you think that's divine intervention? Mm-hmm. Right. So I knew that right away. And I wasn't really sure what was going on. I mean, there was a fleeting thought in my mind, like, oh, like the movies. Did somebody cut my brake lines? But that was a fleeting thought. And then I realized, okay, here's your challenge. Here's your abundance challenge, Karen. So just stay calm. Did anybody die? No. Are you protected? Yes. Are you safe? Yes. And then we're like, okay, will you miss that important interview on Friday? Possibly. But we don't know what's going on. It's really hard for people not to know what's going to happen, right? And it's a challenge to just let go. Let go, so because in the space of stillness, the solutions come. If you're stressed, they don't come. So I had and I was telling the story because it's just about us, going into this space of being challenged. So I'll give you, that the actual example that happened to us. So, so while we were solving this, and it was great because my husband's, doing some really amazing internal work. He's in a group that is supporting him, helping him, sending love and things like that. So he had an amazing journey through this. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm tagging along a little bit, and at the same time, I feel 100% responsible for whatever happens because it is my car and could have been avoided, maybe, maybe not. I don't really know, but it's all good. It is all good. So I had the intuitive hit to call my mechanic in Lake Placid. Here we are stuck in Virginia, right? Thinking, oh, how long is this going to take? And it could take days, it could take a week to repair. And the hotel didn't have the greatest, internet, Wi-Fi, that kind of thing. So I probably would have had to miss my interview. And so I'm calling my mechanic in Lake Placid. And so we tell him the whole situation. I know that he can't help per se, but we just thought, I just said, hey, Jay, would love your expert opinion on this if you wouldn't mind, sharing it. I'm kind of stuck in Virginia. And he says, first of all, they're not going to repair all that rust because they don't deal with that in Virginia. So leave it to me, right? So how to get the car back? Well, he did suggest that maybe we rent a U-Haul and tow the truck. Now, my husband was not comfortable in towing the vehicle behind this U-Haul. But at the same time, I've delivered, I've paid a car delivery service. I've done that before. So I have to say um, that renting the U-Haul was brilliant because I had called the rental car companies and they had no availability for cars until after Christmas, especially one way, right? But U-Hauls, they constantly do one-way trips. OMG, brilliant idea. Thank you, Jay, right? Thank you to my mechanic. So we got one right away. It was so easy to do online. And that's the other thing is when you go into that flow and that stillness and that things start happening, right? So my husband was in the flow. Now I was in the flow already. And we just made it happen so that the U-Haul, there's plenty available. We got the size we wanted. It was a great little, truck. And it was very, very easy to communicate. Everyone texts now, I guess, to the car shipping company. So that's arranged. And yeah, we're able to get home in time. And so, life can throw you curveballs, and that's just life. It's just life, right? But if you spend your energy like resisting life, then it's a major problem. And when the dimensional convergence, which is happening now, when things are like very odd for some people, especially highly sensitive people, sensitive souls, it can feel like, oh my God, on another challenge, right? It can feel so overwhelming. So I'm here to tell you that your reality, okay, it has a lot to do with your perception of what's going on in the outside world. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's your response and your reactions that dictate what happens in the future. So if you respond accordingly, you'll see the miracles. So aside from the miracles of um, feeling cared for and supported, it was wonderful to be able to share our energies with all these other people that we would not have met had we had a perfect trip, if you will. And so as these abundance challenges go, and yes, we are all going to be a challenge. It's not something to resist. It's all okay. So just know that there may be some challenges coming through, whether it be dimensional convergence, whether it be some other shift that's occurring. Life happens, right? And if you can just reperceive and reframe the whole thing, you end up responding, not reacting with negative energy to whatever situation you're going through. So a little pep talk for you. So a couple of announcements. Light Warrior Radio, we're actually re-airing the interview with my friend Ken Rolla, who I got to visit while traveling into and through Florida. And he is an amazing engineer, spiritual investigator, if you will, explorer, and an amazing inventor. And one of the things I have is his home shield. And the home shield can be really helpful for balancing the energies and the weather, if you will, around your space, 75 miles actually radius from where you are. And he recently updated his home shield. I'm really excited to get the updated one sent to my house. So I thought you should know because there's a lot of people experiencing fear because of, a tornado warning or hurricane warning or whatever. And although I teach weather magic, not everybody is willing or able to practice that on a regular daily basis. So here is a technological version of weather magic. So I want to make sure that you knew about this. It makes a wonderful, home Christmas present. And to like, what's the cost of a tornado going through your house, right? Versus not going through your house. Yeah, big cost difference. So it's well worth it. I wanted you to make sure that you knew this information. So I'm re-airing this very, very important interview. And Ken's an amazing guy. He's got amazing inventions and, detox protocols and things like that. So we'll be interviewing him as well in the near future about some of the things he's experienced. So I'm going to just connect that link for you in the description underneath this video. Some cool stuff, new stuff that I wanted to share with you at the convention in Florida for Lifeway. We found out more about what the newest patch does. Now, formally launches in January, but right now we're in a pre-launch celebration. So you can get that one along with the X39 in a bundle or package. And I'll put that link near this video as well. So why X49? Well, X39 activates a peptide called GHK copper peptide, and that is ubiquitous throughout the whole body. So that means that any tissue can get that support of GHK to revert the stem cells to a younger, healthier state and be able to change 1/3 of your DNA back to its original healthier state, like to restore 1/3 of your DNA. Now, I know that we don't have a solution for the other 2/3 at the moment, but that is amazing. Just putting a patch on once a day can help your 1/3 of your DNA go back to a younger, healthier state. That is huge, especially these days. I'm not going to say more about that. The X49, on the other hand, activates AHK, not GHK, AHK, alanine, okay, HK copper peptide. That both uses copper that's already in your body to make these peptides. And this peptide is specific for tissues such as brain, heart, blood vessels, and muscle. So in the studies, we've shown that people can increase their endurance, their strength, their muscle mass, for example. and actually help to decrease the stress as shown in their pulse, interestingly. So their pulse, you know how a lot of elite athletes, they have a lower pulse than the average person. This tends to also decrease the pulse of people who have that, elevated pulse, maybe due to stress, maybe due to aging, who knows. So we learned a lot about anti-aging technologies aside from what's going on in the patches, and I'll talk about those as we go along. If you are on my mailing list, KarenCan.com, just one of the freebies, at the top or the below, either buy the book or go all the way below and get Sensitive Soul Guide, get one of the freebies. You'll be on my mailing list. I'll be sharing this over time. Also, I'm going to be sharing it over social media as well, all the different things that I've learned related to the X49 patch, and also certain things we can't necessarily publicly reveal right now, but there are some technologies that LifeWave inventor David Schmidt, he shared with us some of the solutions through technology that he has created to actually solve some of the worst global problems we have, like not enough food for people. It's a distribution problem, I know, not enough food problem, but imagine being able to grow your own food at home, but at an accelerated rate, where the food that you grow is healthier, more nutrient dense, and grows faster. Imagine, if you will, the oceans being cleaned up with this technology. The phytoplankton that this gives us 80% of our oxygen increases, and so that supports the marine animals. We have more oxygen in the air. I know it's been decreasing over time, and maybe we can restore that with this technology. And what about technology that recycles pollution? We have so much garbage that is dumped in the ocean. It's ridiculous. I mean, I kind of cried when I heard about that. Um, and what about technology to be able to recycle it and create energy, electricity in a closed system? The technology already exists. So exciting. We don't know when or how this is going to launch. We don't know whether, people like me, who's a LifeWave distributor, how that's going to look in terms of sharing these amazing world-saving technologies with other people and somehow get paid for it. I have no idea, but it's an amazing dream, and that's one of David Schmidt's dream. And when I saw the slides and he talked about the technology, I cried again because I've always wanted to save the world. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Okay. Whew, I'm good. Okay. I've always wanted to save the world, and now I know that I can partner, with this company to help save the planet, my dear, dear Gaia. So I'm super excited. If you're following me on social media, you're probably going to see more posts related to the products and the company itself, because I'm in, baby. You're gonna save the planet. I am in. I am there. And so is my husband. So you may see his name as well, James Began, along with my name on some of the posts that we have, because it was so inspiring to be there. So I'm going to be just, sharing some of this through my email as well as through social media, some of the things that I have learned at this amazing convention. Some other announcements, upcoming events. We have the Making Miracles Holiday Summit with Adrienne Blackwell. That's super, super fun. So we had a wonderful chat about all the different miracles, with lots of stories that's happened with my life, people that I know, my students, and clients, and tribe members. We could have gone on for 3 hours talking about miracles. So if you're interested in miracles, definitely check out her Telesummit. We'll put the link near this so you can register, and it starts December 1st. So register now. Last but not least, I have had a lot of people ask me about my daily wellness habits. Now it's funny because I post a lot of it on social media, but it's not all in one place. So I thought it would be kind of cool to do like a mini series focusing on maybe one thing at a time, so that you have kind of like one thing, as we go. So I'm going to create something like that for 2022, so next year. So you can actually see what happens in my household and how I keep myself healthy. And then if things don't feel healthy, what I do about them. In addition, we'll give you another sneak peek is that last year's holiday self-care guide, gift guide, was very popular. So this year I thought I would make another version of that with some updates and calling it healthy for the holidays. I got that from my friend Ta. Love that term. So I'm swiping that one off of her. Healthy for the holidays. So it's going to be a free downloadable PDF that you can share with some of the products that I use the most and love and want to support. Companies I want to support, ways that I stay healthy. So you'll get a little bit of sneak peek into some of the products that I use in this Healthy for the Holidays guide. And so stay tuned. If you're on my mailing list at KarenCan.com, you will definitely get the guide. So check that out. And that's it for this week. If you like this video, definitely give it a like, thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel and share it wherever you think is for the highest good. So until next time, lots of love and see you next week.